all here? Welcome back. So now we are talking about the contributions apart from the node.js. If you are thinking about that, I want to implement the websites. So how node.js can help me out? So the node.js entity here, node.js package module, we call it out. These are the third-party libraries. You can install it very easily and they are very much compatible with the node.js. And almost there are 16,762 open source libraries which are available. You can access them and you can also see the codes. Means here while you are going and you find that something is here while making. So you can just access the codes, build it once again and use it like full-fledged. Just to install any of the dependencies, you can use the simple command, just like that, the npm install. Hereby I am just going to send page of the notice, please. So these are the screenshots we just took from the npm side. These are the most dependent module. Just like require underscore request. If you want to support onto the asynchronous communication, you can use the async, copy script, express.js. Everything means what you can think it of, most probably you will get. Yeah, but yeah, if not, go ahead and just write it down, no problem. So how to install it? If I want to install the underscore npm install underscore, and the same module would be labeled inside my project. If you can go to the website of the NPM. So, I told you some more figure and some techies added here some more modules. So now 16,096 modules are added. You can install it, use it, see the codes, do whatever you want to do with that. Next slide.
Hey, I just have a question. Over here.
Yeah, please.
When I'm working in Java, on various projects, and I have various dependencies.
Yes.
Sometimes I use 1.4.2 version of log purchase, and sometimes I use 1.7.1 version of log purchase, depending on which project I'm using.
Yes.
Sometimes some modules only work with specific version numbers.
Yes.
So any idea how things can work over here?
It is, see, somehow they just maintain the equality between them. Means I just haven't seen any of the case that with the node is 2.8.7 is that a particular dependency is just not.
No, I'm talking about one dependency working with second dependency. This is what I'm talking about. So, for example, let's say Express.js,
Okay.
XYZ version, not working with something else.
Hello, maybe you can highlight the package.json over here, that how we specify the dependencies and the versions.
Sorry,
The package.json file.
Yes, if you are going with these kind of packages, means if you are having some interdependencies, and just like that, the software 1 will just work with the software 2.
A version of software.
Yeah, so the software version 1 will work with the software version 2. So you can put all those dependency channel into just the variation of the project. If you are installing any of the Node.js project, so you just have to configure a file named as the package.json. Into that particular file, you can specify that whatever hereby I am writing, but which particular version to be used, you can specify into the.
So basically, with the npm install, I can install number of versions of the same package.
Perfect. Yes, you can.
That's all.
Thank you.
For Java, we have like build tools, so there are no such build tools.
So the question was for Java, we have build tools. Just because people can't hear you. That's what.
Java, we have different build tools like Maven or Gradle or something. So here we have the same thing.
Here we are having the JavaScript that is clearly introduced by that React engine. Why you want to package?
Sometimes like we want to build something, package something.
So I'll just answer that for you, because nowadays what happens is build tools are going very, very complex. Like people would talk about Maven, but Maven is also very old. Gradle has come into picture. Gradle is for more freeform programming, right? I people use Node itself as a build tool. So what they do is they write some JavaScript and then they execute Node. So Node itself works as a build tool as well because it has got file system APIs and JavaScript itself is a scripting language. That's how people use it. And I've seen it used in one of these new projects which involve, they partly involve Ruby, partly involve Node, partly involve Python. I've seen all this combination also happening with the complex build systems.
So now we want to just break with the Node.js how we can implement our each and every design patterns with that. It is like that we want to just implement with the MVC pattern. So how we can think that particular thing with the Node.js, or I want to express some of the RESTful services. So we can also think with the using of the this.js. What is the express.js? It is just a third party module, or it is just a separate package what we can use with the .js. So how you can work with it? Just your program should be tuned and you can have the large scale application with that. Now, simple example that how you can put your all the programs into the various modules. So that's my first module, or you can say that's my first JavaScript process. What I'm doing, I'm just specifying a space. In that way, export. He just exports dot word is equal to function. A simple JavaScript function which is just giving me a string named as the hello world. And how I'm going to call it here? I am saying variable hello is equal to require. Require is my dot hello file. Here my hello file, and just I can call it with just hello dot word. That particular module, what I have written here, would be able with the hello. It is the modular script with the using of JavaScript.
What about the scope of functions? So is there no, so in JavaScript, if you have a, is there a difference in Node.js with the scope of a function?
So the question here is like that, how would I encapsulate certain functions in Node, like I would like to hide some of them. Is it like that?
Yeah.
So see, there are two things to it. As we don't have any access specifiers in JavaScript, how do we achieve encapsulation is through the use of closures.
Yeah, and the nodes, the way node behaves is exactly the same as normal JavaScript.
Yeah, pretty much. So, let's say for example, when we want to encapsulate something and we don't want to expose all of it out, because what this example does tells is that how you can simply expose a function, how you can simply export a function to some other script which you want to harness it. Now there could be a case when you want to actually modularize a big service and you want to expose a few functions outside. So what we would do is we would use closures to encapsulate it. In our Kinobase example, we have such examples.
Okay.
Next. Complete JavaScript systems. If I talk it about, I just want to know that if any one of you worked into the Java technology, means Java. So what we do into Java means if I want to design or just a simple system, let me use a package. Basically I am having three of the layers. It is my server, that's my DB, and it is my UI. For the UI I am using the just HTML, CSS, JSPs. For these server would be using these servlets, Java, or you can say any of the frameworks, just like the struts or the Spring. For the DB using the Oracle. Means multiple technology on each and every layer. So what we can achieve it through the JavaScript ecosystem. I am imagining of a world where each and everything can be replaced with the JavaScript. Means my same language, same technology, means same syntaxes working on all the three layers. So means my UI would be in the JavaScript, my server would be in JavaScript, and even my DB. So here into that particular slide we are talking about the same. We can develop the race-based services with the Express.js. If you are aware about the MongoDB, is there anyone who is aware about the MongoDB? What is this? If you can please elaborate.
It's mainly on JSON. It's a non-relational database, no SQL database, and it just stores the data in the form of JSON documents. Like indexing and everything is.
Yes. The same thing means my whole DB would be in the JavaScript because we already talked about the JSON. So we can also use the OAuth by which we can use the various modules of the passport.js. Just like you have seen some of the websites, if you go log in with the Google, log in with the Facebook. So how is that particular mechanism works? They works with the support of the OAuth. We can also communicating with the client side JavaScript. Just like that, you can write down your whole just whole HTML part, whole UI part inside the JavaScript using of the smart line, or you can use the ext.js where you are only writing the JavaScript and your whole UI would get rendered. So it is all about the JavaScript stuff. So we can have a small example over it.
So we will be just going to all those functions or all of as just mentioned. So over here we would like to demonstrate a small application which we have built that revolves around the JavaScript ecosystem, bringing it into place. So all those things, managing security with OAuth, using Facebook as Node SDK and Google Passport.js, adding persistence layer, MongoDB, and developing the REST-based web app with Express.js. I'll just quickly show you a small demo of this application which we have built using node.js, which we are trying to highlight. So whenever I'm accessing the main index page, it redirects me to the Facebook for the Facebook authentication. All I need to do is go for the Facebook authentication. The moment I am authenticated, I am reaching the landing page over here. So this authentication mechanism, what we are using is OAuth, and for implementing this OAuth, we have used the Facebook's Node SDK. So Facebook has ported their complete SDK from PHP to Node.js for supporting this. Next to it, whatever all these screens are basically driven by the database calls which are powered by MongoDB. So this is a small application which talks about subscriptions, badges, and the users. So for example, when we talk about the social gamification sites, for example, the Farmville. Okay, so there is a small question over here. How many of you play online games? Almost all of us play online games. So whenever we reach up to a certain level or we accomplish something, we receive a badge. So this application revolves around the same thing. The moment if someone wants to configure sort of badges, so all he could do is he could log into this application, could ask for some subscriptions and create certain badges, and he could just assign the users those badges. For example, on this screen, the users could be assigned the badges. So if you want to assign the badges, you can just assign it. From here.
So think about it this way: since you guys, let's say somebody attended 5 technical sessions, you give him a badge. like, TechNextPune or something like that. That kind of a thing.
And all you could do is you could just save the form from here. So this UI is designed in Smart Client, which is all about the single page JavaScript application building, and the server is running in the node.js. We'll just have a quick look at the code over there, which will give us more detailed insights on how we would plan for writing bigger things in node.js. So the architecture is pretty simple, and there are no bigger things to be put into place. For example, when I need to write my main handler, that is to say the place where I would be receiving the request, all I need to write is an app.js file, and I could name it whatever I like. There is no particular need to name it as an app.js. What I am doing over here is I require Express, I require Facebook's Node SDK. You can see this. And I require my own services. So this says that my services are placed in a service directory and I am terming it as a user service. And all I do is that when I call the service method, so the service object is available to us. So this would answer Mukun's question. Let's say I move on to the service, user service. So in this user service, what I am trying to do is I am trying to encapsulate a lot of delegations to my data services. So in this way, I achieve the encapsulation, and what I am trying to do is I am basically exposing just a proxy object for handling those requests by the router layer. So this whenever I am saying that export source service, so basically I am returning an anonymous function over here. So this function is called, and I am returning a closure actually. So this is the closure which gets returned. That is which is highlighted between the two brackets. This function is called, this closure is returned, and this closure encapsulates my get users by subscription method. So let's say if my user service intends to call this method, so it would just call it from here. Let's highlight the instance of the user service. A post request on data users URL, so I am calling a users.get users by subscription. So I would use that service over here. I could use call that method directly.
Can you show the earlier code again? Can you show the earlier code, user service or player service?
Yeah, sure. We can move on.
So basically, when you say returning closure, the simple way to understand that is you are returning an object which is in the braces. This curly brace till the end. Is an object which has a key called as get user by subscription, where the value is a function.
Yeah.
That would be a simpler way of understanding.
That is the most simpler way to represent an object.
So that's an object with a property called as get user by subscription, which is a function. And if you go to app.js, the same thing you are using over there. You're using the same method called as get user by subscription.
Okay. What we would do is we would discuss the most simple call over here, which would fetch us all the subscriptions from the back. So what we are trying to do is, let's have a look at this call, data subscription order. I could even execute it on my directly. So, just give me 2 seconds. could see that this is the actually the URL is changed. So this is the data subscription URL which we are editing rather than this URL, and it is responded back with this response. In review would be already here. So this is the subscription object. These are two subscription objects which are being returned. It talks about the badges and the users. So the response is a JSON. You can see them.
Can you just zoom in?
Okay. Is it visible? Okay, I'll do. Is it clear now? Okay, so this JSON is being returned by the REST call, and we would just look into it how this REST call got processed at the back. So what happens that whenever we receive a data subscription call, so we intend to go to the get all subscriptions method. So this get all subscription method is basically written in the subscriptions data service, and we have just encapsulated this get all subscriptions and get subscription in one single object which we are returning from this function. And we would be moving on to subscriptions data service. Get all subscriptions. Here, what we are trying to do is we are just providing a callback, and we are calling the generic data service. So this generic data service handles all the data related operations. Let's move on to this. So here the simple method is speaks about the criteria. So what you need to do is you need to specify a collection name. So whenever we talk about the relational databases, we think in terms of tables and columns. So I would be querying a particular table with a particular query, and I would be requesting the values from particular columns. So here the case is a little different. What we do term it in NoSQL is that we term what we can think is, instead of terming them as tables, we term them as collections. So collections could hold the values which we term as documents. So documents are analogous to the records. We have records in NoSQL database. In the relational databases, and over here we are having collection the documents. So, and in documents, they are not specified type. They could grow and shrink accordingly, and you can add whatever fields and values, and even you can push arrays and associative arrays in them. So they are part of those things. So all we need to do is over here is from the pool we acquire this connection, and from this connection we actually call this collection. So see, everything goes here in the callback fashion. What you do is actually you take up a pool object. So from this, where this pool object comes is from this pool module catch. Really sorry about it, because we had recently we committed a few more things and we changed a few things, so there are a few simplifications over here. So we don't use those pooling and all those things. Instead, what we do is, let's see, we were having a look at the generic data service, and we were trying to find by criteria. So you could see that how this find by criteria is such a simpler thing. All you need to do is, when you are querying by criteria, so you need to provide the collection name. So let's say I'm querying the subscriptions collection. So in the subscriptions collection, I intend to look for a particular for those particular subscriptions which meet a particular criteria. Let's say when I logged in with my Facebook user account, so that is having certain subscriptions associated. So I want to pick up only those. So I will be just picking up only those. Next is I will be providing a callback, and that callback would be nothing but my earlier functions which I am passing down the hierarchy. How these things actually take place, what we will do is we will quickly launch this whole application into Node debugger and have a look into it. So that would help us to understand how to even debug the Node applications. So debugging Node applications is not that difficult. It's pretty simple. All you need to do is you need to launch Node Inspector. I will be using npm install to this is the way we do actually install the Node modules. All I have done is npm install Node Inspector and I am done. The npm package would take care of it.
That's the path, right? You can slash right. Node Inspector gets you need to add it to your path. I believe it's in one of these system directories.
Just go inside the node. Yes, go inside the node.
Again, I need to just launch my what I have done is basically I have started the node with a debug breakpoint. So all it does is it starts your node script and it breaks on the first line of the node script. And what this node inspector module does is it basically opens up the console for you and browser where you can actually debug the script. Now it's pretty simple because you don't need any explicit debugger. You can just use your Chrome itself to debug the things. And how do you proceed? Simply you just query for this. You just try to execute your script. first line of my script. Now what I intend to do is, basically I intend to look into this, the subscription call, the data subscription call. So I'll just place a breakpoint over here, subscription.get all subscriptions. And I'll just refresh it again.
Yes.
You should continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, just here out. Just continue.
So
Yeah, you can like
okay, so the breakpoint has been met, and we can go further down. Here what I am doing is, if I just have a look at the request, so it's the incoming message which I have received. 2000 seconds, I look at it. Let's go inside it. I'll step inside this subscription data service dot get all subscriptions. And what I am doing is I am providing two arguments: the user object, which I have prepared, and the function which I intend to being invoked on the callback, this function. Let's go inside first. I read the subscriptions data service now, and I'm doing some sort of processing over here. And let's move on to the find by criteria. Now, when I do step inside, so here you can see that I am providing the three arguments. The first is my collection name, the subscription. Second is the criteria. So what I'm telling is that find all those subscription IDs which match this thing. So you can just print the subscription IDs. Subscription ID is nothing but an array which contains records, two records. So these are the two records which I am providing. Let's move into it. When I do step in, so basically what I am doing is I am using a P connection. This P connection is nothing but prepared connection which we are preparing on the while we launch the script itself. So this is the P connection. So when we launch the script, so this db.open function is called, and on receiving a successful connection, we keep a reference of it in our code. Now what I am doing is I would be querying the database for a collection, the collection name and the criteria I am providing. Now once I receive the cursor, and when I am saying the collection.find, I am supplying the criteria and I am providing a callback to that. The moment I reach over here, it's basically from the cursor I have received all the logs. So if you just have a look at the logs, so these are the two subscriptions which I have received from the database. The two ones. These are the two records being written to the database. So in this way we could even debug using the node.js debugger.